Hi, it's Kim and welcome to the channel today. Today we're going to talk about sealing Hypertufa. I have a lot of Hypertufa planters that I have sedum, sempervivum, different plants like that are really drought type plants, and the porosity of the Hypertufa is great for that type of a plant. But I am wanting to expand and plant a lot of different type plants, maybe some that need a little more water, so that I can enjoy just misting my plants here and there and everything, because I really like that. So I'm going to seal them. Now, I've not had any experience with this. I am going to use a product called Flex Seal here in the video, but I also have another stain that is a wood sealer that I want to use. I previously had a big large urn that I planted alyssum in. It was gorgeous, but I just couldn't keep up with its water needs. So I want to try something different this year. So here we go. Now first, I've got this 8-year-old Hypertufa that I have dried out. It's been inside for quite a while to make sure it's really dry before I paint it. And I'm using that steel wire brush to kind of clean the outside, make sure there's no dangling little particles and sand and anything coming off it that'll keep the paint from adhering. And once I get it all scraped well, then I will change over to this softer brush so that I can finally get the fine dust and everything off and have it just as clear as possible for me to allow this Flex Seal to adhere to it. Now, for my purposes, I'm only going to seal the sides of my planter. I'm not really going to seal thoroughly the top or bottom, anything like that. I just want to prevent a little bit of the moisture escaping. If you're doing a bird bath or something like that and you want yours to hold water, such as in a water trough or something like that, then you might want to thoroughly coat yours. But I'm just doing the sides. Now here's the Flex Seal that I'm going to use to do my sealing of the Hypertufa. I just picked that up. I forget if it was Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart, but it's usually about $13 for that can, and I made sure I got the one that was clear. So I'm going to be careful and try not to get it on my camera. I've got it kind of far back and I'm kind of zooming in, so because I'm afraid of getting it on the lens. Be sure to shake it up and then just spray. It says to hold it, 8 to 12 inches away from your object. And I'm just giving sort of a light coating, you might say. I know I'm repeating over and over the coating, but I just want it to be sealed pretty well so that it won't leak out all of the moisture. Just leave some of it inside. And I'm not planning on doing the bottom or the top. I may do a little bit of the edges just so that everything looks uniform in color. Now this, in its wet state or the moist state, it looks a little bit darker than it will be when it dries again, but it's not really giving it any real color change to the Hypertufa itself. But you can see it's a little bit dark on this side, but you can see the way it looks. Now from this perspective, that trough looks a lot bigger than it truly is. But I'm just giving a little bit of a repeat along the sides and the top and my corner edges. I want to make sure it really gets in there good. Now once I get finished with feeling like it's all mostly covered, I am going to let it dry. Now after about 2 hours it feels slightly tacky, seeming almost like it's dry, but I have let it dry for 24 hours before I actually try to go out and plant it. Now you can see it really just gives it kind of a flat coating. I can't really see any shine or anything. I do a little bit at the time it's wet, but not after it dries. It just sinks into the pores. But I am really liking the look of it completely. Now, the particular trough that I'm using, as I said, it's about 8, maybe 10 years old. I really can't remember when I made it, but I've used it for quite a long time. In this one, I have just the pot feet that are made from little yogurt pots. I've used these as planters before, but mostly I use these for pot feet. So if you have those, just be sure you paint those too, so that if there is any slight color change, it will still match or go with your pot. So these really turned out real well. I like that. I really think it's going to be an addition that I'll love in some of my Hypertufa pots. I don't want all of them to be sealed because a lot of them are primarily for succulents. But then I may test a few on succulents to see if it holds water a little bit easier for them, especially in the real heated part of the summer. Now I think that goes real well. The color is roughly the same, and of course this is in a wet state. I'm really pleased with how it looks. I like the way the indentations show up. I hope they show up that well when it's dry. But I think I like it a lot. I'll plan to do a lot more. Okay, the next day, after I've had a 24-hour period, I put the little feet up under there. It looks wonderful. I really love it. And then what I'm planning to plant is this Campanula carpatica. It's called Pearl Deep Blue. I bought that in a recent plant haul. And let me show you what the finished product looks like. I love it. Now those gradations in color you see are just how this looked based on its age, because this is an older pot, as I said, but I love it. Now, this may work for you, it may not, but I am in love with my little pot. But thanks for joining me today. I hope these instructions were clear enough, but if you have any questions, just ask. I'll be glad to answer your questions. Thanks for joining me.